The story begins with a narration of how the ocean is a mysterious world that humans can only begin to imagine. Others think they know what lies beneath the surface, but the sea creatures who live there, even the ones they have imagined, might have imagined them wrong. For instance, the mythical mighty giant kraken is known to be a bloodthirsty monster, sinker of ships and drowner of sailors. In reality, they're noble protectors who protect the peace on land and sea. It is said that the sea will always need a kraken, and a kraken will always answer the call. 15-year-old Ruby Gillman lives with her family in the seaside town of Oceanside, California. Trying to fit in with the humans despite being krakens, she tries to convince her parents why she should go to her school's prom, but her mother Agatha forbids her from going because it's to be held on a ship in the ocean. At school, she initially decides not to go, but her friends convince her to ask out her crush, Connor, to the prom. Seeing that they already plan to go, Ruby initially decides to ask Connor using an advanced quadratic equation that will spell the word prom. But her best friend Margot stops her and explains that a good promposal is an art. She tells her that the showmanship is the name of the game in a hormone-fueled benchmark of adolescence in a ritual that embodies the ultimate high-risk, high-reward. Everyone gets one shot in prom and only one shot at persuading the Romeo to her Juliet. With stakes so high, the only option is to go big. When Ruby finally agrees, Margot gives her a commercial-grade confetti cannon. When she asks Connor to prom, she initially backs out, fearing rejection, but when Connor waltzes into school on his skateboard, Ruby decides to go all in. Finally, Ruby gets to the courage to walk up to Connor, but when he mentions that those big promposals weirded him out, she decides to back down. Ruby drops the confetti cannon, but Connor picks it up when a slight mishap causes him to fall into the water. She quickly jumps into the water, albeit her mother's consistent reminder to avoid the ocean and saves him. She suddenly turns into a giant kraken because of her touching salt water. Ruby places him on the boat ramp, and when she runs to check on him, he wakes up, believing he was saved by the new girl, Chelsea Van Dersey, who tried to befriend her. She started freaking out as people turned their gaze to her, so she ran away and hid in the library when she noticed her hand continued to glow. She accidentally destroys the library as she uncontrollably grows in size, transforming into a colossal monstrous creature after being startled by the librarian. Ruby runs to the lighthouse worried that people may see her, but Agatha finds out and chases after her. Agatha's reunited with her brother Brill, who informs her that he and her mother know about Ruby's transformation. Agatha finds her and calms a distressed Ruby down until she shrinks back to her normal size. Back at the house, Ruby's father and little brother Sam learn about Ruby's transformation. Agatha explains that she too can turn into a giant kraken. Ruby continues to freak out, describing how life is already hard, hiding everything that made her different. Later, Ruby overhears Agatha and Brill arguing about different options and getting furious when she realizes that her mother's still hiding something from her. She later sneaks out of the house to look for her uncle, realizing she might figure out what they are keeping from her. She finds him at the harbor being attacked by birds over his corn dog. Brill slips up during their conversation about how her grandmother sent him. Ruby worries that she does not know anything about being a giant kraken. Anne hopes that her grandmother will be able to teach her. Brill tries to stop her, but she tricks him into helping her. Realizing there's no way to stop her, Brill escorts Ruby back to the Kraken Kingdom where she meets Grandmama, the warrior queen of the Seven Seas. Grandmama tells Ruby she's a princess and is next in line to take the throne. Ruby worries she's not made out for royalty and wants to just be normal. Grandmama explains that the women in their family have been gifted the mighty power to become a giant kraken. Given that she's only one of 3 giant krakens on Earth, it is her duty to protect the ocean and its creatures. She claims that many monsters have coveted their position and tried to seize the throne for themselves. They've never succeeded, whether it was the Leviathan, Umibozu, or the Mermaid Queen. Ruby is baffled given that people love mermaids. Grandmama explains that mermaids are selfish and vain narcissists who want to control the ocean while forcing its creatures to serve her and her alone. Usually, mermaids would be no match for a giant kraken, but the mermaid queen Nerissa found an ancient weapon, the Trident of Oceanus. It is said to be the only weapon powerful enough to defeat a giant kraken. Grandmama formed an army to fight against her and lost so many lives against them. They would have lost their war if not for her mother Agatha, who was known to be their greatest warrior. She engaged in a great battle against the tyrant Mermaid Queen and wrestled away the trident. With the trident, they had the chance to defeat the mermaids once and for all, but Agatha trapped them for all eternity, then hid the trident away and left the kingdom. It was later revealed that Agatha ran away to the surface to raise Ruby and keep her safe. Grandmama explains that being queen is her birthright, and fight as she might, fight as she will, but she will never outswim her destiny. Even with that said, Ruby refuses the throne but is thankful to have finally met her grandmother. On her way home, she gets trapped by an elderly sailor, Gordon Lighthouse, who claims to have been hunting the bane of their existence. He almost kills her if not for Chelsea, who reveals herself as a mermaid and helps her to escape. The next day, Ruby tries to go back to her normal life, but footage of her in Kraken form becomes viral. She starts to panic and runs away, hiding in some cubicle when she hears of Chelsea from outside. She confronts her and wonders how she managed to fit in so easily. She later ditches school with Chelsea to swim the 7 seas. Chelsea explains that ever since the Battle of the Trident, all mermaids have been in hiding after her mother, the malevolent mermaid queen Nerissa, was supposedly killed trying to get the trident back. She claims that she felt trapped, so she decided to run away. Everything changed when she found Ruby, who she shared her secret, and everything is right in the world again. Ruby thinks that if it weren't for the war, they would have been free to do anything they wanted. Chelsea won't have to continue hiding from the Krakens, while she won't have to become the prophesized princess warrior of an interspecies vendetta. Chelsea suggests finding the trident to show everyone that there doesn't have to be a war. She claims it can become a symbol of peace where Ruby would not have to fight and the mermaids would not have to hide. Ruby and Chelsea later arrive at the Well of the Seas, said to be the source of all the ocean's energy. It was said that Agatha hid the trident at the center where only giant krakens can swim due to its powerful currents, realizing that it is too powerful for her as it is. Ruby returns to her grandmother to train her powers. She was taught how to swim through powerful currents, use her inner strength, shoot lasers from her eyes, and even make her body strong enough to withstand a powerful attack. Despite having mastered all her powers, Ruby still struggles to reach the trident, so she decides to seek advice from her mother. Chelsea worries that Agatha may not like her, who she fears will immediately figure out she's a mermaid. When Ruby tells her mother that Chelsea is a mermaid, Agatha quickly pulls her inside the house to talk. While trying to explain herself, Ruby slips up that Grandmama has been training her. She tries to reason with her, but Agatha refuses to listen and explains that mermaids are dangerous. This angered Ruby, especially when Agatha forbids her from returning to the ocean. Ruby grows into a ginormous size and walks out, destroying their house and the fake life they have struggled to keep. Agatha returns to the Kraken Kingdom to confront her mother and tells her to stay away from her family. Grandmama explains how Agatha forces her daughter into a life she doesn't want. Agatha refutes that it is different with Ruby, as she was not raised to be a reflection of someone's glory. Unlike how she raised her, she explains how she's never stopped fighting for her family and those she loves, unlike the queen who loves fighting. Agatha explains that Ruby's still a sweet, naive kid who is now in trouble after finding herself friends with the Mermaid Queen's daughter. Grandmama was shocked as she knew Nerissa never had a daughter, to which there could only be one explanation. Meanwhile, Ruby returns to the Well of Seas to attempt to grab the trident again, and this time successfully retrieves it and presents it to Chelsea. Chelsea claims she waited 15 years to get it. She finally got the chance to get revenge on Ruby's mother for taking the trident away from her. When she finally has the trident, Chelsea reveals herself to be Nerissa, the malevolent queen of the mermaids who grows to a monstrous size to become a match for Ruby. She quickly traps Ruby under some rubble before destroying the town that Agatha calls home. At prom night, Agatha and Grandmama confront Nerissa, who comes seeking revenge after their long-standing war for the trident. Meanwhile, Brill finds a wounded and dispirited Ruby. After giving her some encouragement, Ruby breaks free and quickly swims back to the surface to face Nerissa. Nerissa overpowers Agatha and Grandmama, and as she's about to finish them off, Ruby emerges from underwater, intent on stopping her. She tries to wrestle for the trident, but Nerissa overpowers her and throws her aside while creating a massive tsunami that would turn the ship that was used for prom upside down. Ruby quickly pulls the boat up and saves them, but Nerissa catches her off guard and pins her down. She breaks free from her when she uses her laser eyes on the trident. Ruby quickly swims to Agatha and Grandmama and suggests they shoot at the trident together. Agatha fears the trident is indestructible, but Ruby insists they can destroy it if they join powers together. She believes it would work and explains that it's the power of the exponential growth formula. Ruby quickly faces Nerissa head-on, to which Agatha and Grandmama join hands and use their laser eyes to destroy the trident, defeating Nerissa and shrinking her to her normal size. Nerissa falls back into the ocean where Gordon captures her as a mermaid. Having reconciled with her mother, Agatha claims that Ruby still has time to make it to the prom's last dance. She quickly swims to the boat and emerges from the water in a glowing frilly dress, which everyone accepts and welcomes her as their hero. She then reconciles with her friends after she's ditched them for Chelsea. Ruby then asks Connor to prom, which he accepts using a quadratic derivative graph. She then pulls Connor to the dance floor where she and the rest of her friends spend the night dancing. Grandmama also meets her grandson Sam while Gordon creates a public apology video for saying insensitive things about Krakens. Sometime later, everyone returns to their normal lives. Still, this time, they're out in hiding with Ruby and Connor as a couple as she becomes the protector of Oceanside. The end. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and tap that bell to be notified about our latest videos. We'll see you next time.